Shabbos. Of course, a good Erev Yom Tov. Simcha Tova. It's such a schos, Baruch Hashem, to be able to spend. It's an interesting dynamic this year. This is the last Erev Shabbos of the year, right? That precedes the first Shabbos of the next year. I was thinking like this. There's something special to that. Something special, almost as if sometimes the greatest challenge in our ruchnius is not Shmiras Shabbos, but sometimes the greatest challenge we have is in Shmiras Erev Shabbos. Rabbi Soloveitchik, I've quoted this many times in past years. Rabbi Soloveitchik says that what he missed most from his youth, he said in America, he said there are plenty of people who are Shomer Shabbos. He said what he misses from his youth are people who are Shomer Erev Shabbos. What does it mean to be a Shomer Erev Shabbos? So the truth is, it's easier to explain it than it is to, or it's easy to describe it than to define it. If you're ever in Eretz Yisrael, when the sun goes down Thursday night, you feel something different. There's something different. Erev Shabbos, see, for us, Erev Shabbos is Friday. And I will say, what's the hallmark of a successful Friday? If you can squeeze an entire day's worth of work, right, before 4 o'clock, that's an accomplishment. And definitely that is an accomplishment. But on a deeper level, the power of Erev Shabbos, of course, is the ability to go ahead and the ability to prepare for Kedusha. The ability to go ahead and recognize that any experience of Kedusha is only meaningful if it's preceded by real preparation. It's like anything important in life. You can't just roll out of bed and do. Anything that's important in life needs hachana. Erev Shabbos is the hachana for Shabbos Kodesh. So I was thinking that maybe, the Ribono Shel Olam is giving us a last Erev Shabbos in this year. Last Erev Shabbos. Maybe what the Ribono Shel Olam wants more than anything from us is not even more mitzvahs and not even more Torah. Well, always good, more mitzvahs, more Torah. But maybe what the Ribono Shel Olam looks for most right now are achanas, are just additional preparations. That maybe if we're just making ourselves just a little bit more, what we could accomplish and what we could do and how we could grow. So I will say with that, there's no better person that we could be meichen with, no better person that we could prepare with than our Rebbe. We're just learning in Daf. We just had Daf Yomi Shir about giving kavod to your Rebbe. So I will say, who's our Rebbe? Who's our Rebbe? The Piazetzna. Every single Erev Shabbos, we get the great zechus to be able to learn with our Rebbe. Your Rebbe doesn't have to be alive for him to be your Rebbe. You don't even ever have to have met your Rebbe for him to be your Rebbe. But anyone who in this world, in this life, inspires you to be more, to accomplish more, to do more, that's your Rebbe. We'll say every single week, the Piazetzna, Hashem Yikol Nemo. You think about the Rebbe, it's impossible to think about the Piazetzna without getting choked up. It's impossible. The Rebbe had such a short life, but in that short life, there was so much difficulty, there was so much tragedy, there was so much despair. But there was so much simcha, there was so much Torah, there was so much light that the Rebbe disseminated. That's the light we bask in. That's the Torah we learn. So I will say, so again, on this last Erev Shabbos of the year, this last day, whose entire avoda is hachana, we're going to do our hachanas with our Rebbe. We're going to do our hachanas with the Piazetzna. And the Rebbe's Torah is going to prepare us not just for our last Erev Shabbos in this Tafshin Pei Gimel, but Emirat Hashem, just as important, if not more important, is going to prepare us, Emirat Hashem, for Tafshin Pei Dalet, for the first Shabbos of this new year. We have to thank our sponsors. Steve, who are the sponsors tonight?
Chad Kaplan, the merit of Rafur Shlema for Rena Esther Vasiyat Gita, Yaakov Benzakein, in honor of the entire Shir and Rabbi Silver, the blessing of Shannon Silva Masuda,
Amazing.
And Eli Cohen.
Belly, in honor, just because.
For my wife.
For your wife, just beautiful. Chabra, thank you to all the sponsors. And I will say, as we close out the year also, a tremendous Hakar Satov to Reb Tzvi, who every single week just happens to whip up a smorgasbord, right? It's mamish right, pickles and yeah. And I'm also pickles with the Yerushalmi kugel, which is not. I don't want to take credit for it, but I think it might have been me. I think I might have been the impetus for that. It's maybe the crown jewel accomplishment of my year. Really, on behalf of the entire shir, Tzvi, thank you for everything. You make it look so effortless. You make it look so easy, but it's so beautiful, and it changes the entire dynamic. Mamish, it allows us to feel like we're entering into Shabbos Kodesh. Thank you, and all of the kedusha that is literally generated through all of the Gashmir should be a schus for you, for your mishpacha in the year and in the years to come. Thank you. Let's say, so let's begin. Let's begin. So we're continuing about say today on page 50. On page 50, if anyone needs our extra svarim. Oh, actually, I made copies also, but all right. But at least we have enough svarim around also. Page 50. So I will say, so tonight. See, last week, if you remember again, last week what I did was I went ahead and I took a piece from Bnai Machshava. This is our Sefer, I will say. And again, we're actually, when did we start this?
2002.
3 months ago, I like that. 2002. All right, so again, we started a while ago, but I will say, but what's incredible, I'll say is, I'm sorry?
We were the original Bnei Chaburah Torah.
In 1924, what do we got together? Right, okay, I should know better than to ask open-ended questions. Okay, so I'll say, what was beautiful is last week, if you remember again, we took a piece from Bnai Machshava Tova, and we kind of intertwined it with the piece from Eish Kodesh. Let's say, everything is hashgacha, and the Ribbon Shalom runs the world, and the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu choreographs everything is so incredible. We're going to see the piece tonight from the Rebbe's Bnei Machshava Tova fits so perfectly. There's plenty of seats. Fits perfectly into our avoda for Rosh Hashanah. So let's take a look. We're up to page 50, paragraph Zion. So there should be other extra. All this are being used. Okay, good. We could share. Oh, good. The extra. So we'll say paragraph Zion. Listen to this. Says the Rebbe. Says the Piazetzna. Harbe Pamim. This is so beautiful and so apropos for Rosh Hashanah. Harbe Pamim bein bebeischa bein berachov techavein mitoch shviras halev kola olam elokusi. And I will say this is so beautiful. Sometimes I will tell you that I don't know what it is this year. I don't know if anyone else is feeling it, but this year, I find myself so much more drawn to the feelings of Yom Tiv than to the actions of Yom Tiv. I don't know, for whatever the reason, this just feels like a year of the neshama, like a Yom Noram of the neshama, right? And last week we were speaking about yearning and the power of yearning. So good, the Rebbe says, sometimes the Rebbe says, you're just walking. Sometimes the greatest moments of Aliyah come, it's amazing. Sometimes you work to feel inspired, and what happens? You don't feel it. And then, in a moment when you're doing absolutely nothing, not like nothing, but you're not working on it, suddenly there's a tidal wave of inspiration. So the Rebbe says, sometimes in life you're in your house, or you're walking down the road, and you know what? You feel in a moment of brokenheartedness. We'll talk about this in just a moment. Kala olam elokusi. And you have a moment where you feel to yourself, you know what? The Ribono Shel Olam is everything. I'll say, by the way, that line, that's Rosh Hashanah. Do you want to know what Rosh Hashanah is? Rosh Hashanah is coming to an awareness. Miloch al kol ha'olam kulo bichvodecha. Ribono Shel Olam, you are the entire world, and the entire world is you. That's it. There's no bifurcation. There's no separation. There's no dichotomy. There's no there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu and there's this. The Ribono Shel Olam is everything, and everything is the Ribono Shel Olam. That's the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's intertwined with everything. That's what I will say. That's why is it that no matter how terribly you sin, right? I will say, think about the worst Aveira. Don't call anything out, right? But think about the worst Aveira, like the worst Aveira, right? That a person could do, or that you could do, or that you've done, right? Okay, and now remember how you feel after that Aveira. Remember, you feel like the lowest of the low, mamish, I feel like yeyosh, I'm done, and yet tshuva is possible from the lowest of the low. Which means, if tshuva is possible from the lowest of the low, that means HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the lowest of the low as well. Rosh the lowest of the low. They will say, the Sanzer of the Divrei Chaim says that we light the Ner Chanukah lemata miyud, below 10 tfachim. I bazog the Gemara Masechah Sukkah li'olam lo yarda shchina lemata miyud tfachim. The shchina never goes down below 10 tfachim. So says the Sanzer of, why are we lighting the Ner Chanukah below 10 tfachim? See something amazing? Because if a Yid sinks below 10 tfachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will break his own rule to find me wherever I am. Normally, the halacha is the Shechina does not go below 10 tfachim. But if I am so low, and I need the Ribbon Shalom to dig me out of where I am, I need him to dig me out, and I am below 10 tfachim, my light, my spark is below 10 tfachim, he will come and he will find me wherever I am. The Ribono Shel Olam is in mitzvah, and the Ribono Shel Olam is in chait. The Ribono Shel Olam is in times of aliyah, and the Ribono Shel Olam is in times of yerida. The Ribono Shel Olam is in everything. He is everywhere and everything. That's why tshuva is possible. Tshuva, I will say, if chait severed your relationship with God, then you'd be unable to do tshuva. Even when I sin, The Ribono Shel Olam is right there. A shtickle disappointed, right? A shtickle unhappy, a shtickle saddened by what I've done. But he's right there. What's the pasuk in Tehillim? Emasa shamayim. Okay, it'll come to me. The pasuk in Tehillim where David HaMelech writes, if I go up to Shamayim, you're there, right? If I go up to Shamayim, you're right. And what is it? What's it? Right? So whether I'm in Shamayim, you're there, and if I'm in the Sha'ol, beautiful, I'm in the Sha'ol, you're there as well. The Piyah says, and they'll say, this is Rosh Hashanah. See, the greatest challenge in our lives is that we compartmentalize God, right? We put him in a box, right? God is here. Where is God? God is in shul, right? God is in religious experiences. God is in inspiration, right? Work? I don't know. Maybe he's there, maybe he's not there, right? My private life, maybe there. No, the Rebbe is everywhere. He's in Shamayim and he's in Gehenna. He's with Aveira and he's with Chet. He is everywhere and everything. So what the Rebbe says. He says, Gargir chol, kol ha'olam kula is like, Gargir chol asher tachas ragli. Not a kernel. What do you call a piece of sand? Grain. A grain of sand. And the grain of sand underneath my feet, that's ha'avir shani no shame. So the sand that I walk on, the air that I breathe, the chol ha'metzios elokus hema. People say, the Ribbon Shalom is everything. Is everything. He's the sand I walk on. He's the air that I breathe. Again, he's the mitzvahs I do, the averus I perform. And look what the person. So a person has this epiphany. We'll say, what's the epiphany? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everything and anything. He's everywhere. And we'll say, this. I want to just tell you the reason why this is my Rebbe. The reason why this is my Rebbe is as well. See, you understand what this is. You see, sometimes in streams of thought out of Chassidus, you have to find God. You have to find God. If I have to find God, that means, again, I could be here, God could be over there. In Chassidus, I will say, you don't have to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's everywhere and everything. I don't have to find the Ribbon Shalom because, again, he's intertwined. He's in the ground I walk on. He's in the air that I breathe. I don't have to find anything. So says the Rebbe something amazing. He says, "V'lamazeh nisrachakti ani mikol machane hashchina zu lios reshus liatzmi beratzon v'daas beguf af nefesh mugushamim chas v'shalom." So I will say, here's what's incredible. A person has this epiphany that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere and anywhere. And then in the next moment I think to myself, so why do I do things which distance me from Him? Why? Why do I do things that distance me from Him? He's everywhere. We'll say, what does it mean if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere? Remember again, we'll say, does the Ribono Shel Olam need to be everywhere? Does he need to be everywhere? No. There's a concept of tzimtzum, right? The Ribono Shel Olam can remove himself, but he chooses to be everywhere. He chooses to be everywhere. Why? Because he wants relationship. Simple. The Ribono Shel Olam wants relationship. So the Piyah says, sometimes a person has this epiphany. On one hand, the epiphany is so great because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. But then I ask myself, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, why do I distance myself from Him? Why do I do things to drive a wedge? Why do I do things to create just this chasm? Why this disconnect between myself and HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I'll tell you, it's my shaykhachaya. I'll tell you, schatani masker. I had a really negative interaction this week, and I was telling someone about it. And the truth is, as I was telling the person about it, I say, you know what? I'm definitely talking Lashon Hara. It's definitely Lashon Hara. It wasn't productive anymore. It's definitely Lashon Hara. And I would say, when I saw the piece of the PHS, I was thinking to myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Because if I do this, the Ribbon Shalom who's all around me, I'm just pushing myself away from Him. He's surrounding me on every single way. He's below me, He's on top of me, He's all around me. And when I do this thing, I'm distancing myself from Him. Why am I doing it? I'll tell you something. It was the first time in my life that I think I found a strategy that actually helps a person to avoid sin. We all know the severity of Lashon Hara, right? It's pretty bad. And that's kind of putting it mildly, right? Pretty bad. I don't know. I'm not going to take a show of hands behind me to speak Lashon Hara or do whatever else we do in life. And intellectually, we know all of the averos they're wrong. I think what the Piagetson is presenting for us is a different kind of model. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes out of his way to be everywhere and anywhere. Why would I want to distance myself from him through negative behaviors? It's not about onish, it's not about punishment, it's not about the patch, it's not about any of that. It's that why would I want to distance myself from a God who wants to envelop me on every single side? He goes on, Ribono Shalom. So Piagetson says, so what do you do? So what do you do in a moment like that, where you recognize that on one hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere and anywhere? What do you do about that? But on the other hand, I also know that my behaviors distance me from him. So what do you do in that moment, I will say, when you have this epiphanous? I think I made that word up a couple of shiurim ago. Is it a real word?
It works.
Yeah, epiphanous moments, right?
We understand.
When you find yourself shrouded in epiphanicity, right? So again, that's right. And it's from a part of a dialogical construct, you know. So it's like so the Piaget. So what do you do? I said this is. I want to tell you something. I was so taken by this because to me this is so real. This is my life over here. This with the Piaget, this is my life. This is my life. So I have this moment where I know, Ribono Shalom, you're everywhere. And then I have the next moment where I realize, but my behaviors push you away. And then I ask myself, so why do I do it? Why do I do it? But yet, so I'll say, so now I'm stuck. So like, what do I do now? So of course, again, right? So I'll say, what do I do now? What should I do? So again, the reflexive answer is, okay, stop sinning. But I'll say, maybe you have a friend who sins, and you could talk to him about the dynamic of sin. And it's not so easy to stop sinning. It's not so easy to stop doing the things that maybe I've been doing for many years. And the things I will say, the interesting part about chait is that the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the less stigma there is attached to it. Right? It's the Gemara that says that once a person does an avera and does it a second time, it becomes a heter. The Gemara says keheter. The Gemara says no, nira lo keheter. It looks like it's mutter. Let's say, how many of us have things in our lives? I know it's, what's great about getting older? Is obviously the lack of grooming you have to do on the top of your head. So what's great about getting older is you have clarity. Like it used to be like I would wonder, like, what do I have to work on in life? Now I actually know exactly. It's clear to me what my deficiencies are, what's broken, and what needs to be fixed. Now you know what the challenge is. What's the challenge? Doing it, living differently, behaving differently, and that's the greatest challenge in the world. Because often my negative behaviors are so often just a part of how I live, a part of my lifestyle, a part of who I am. It's interesting. The more you sin, the more the avera becomes part of your life. Like this is what I do. Like, this is how I roll. This is part. I know it's wrong. But this is part of my persona. So now I have this epiphany. I recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. He wants to be close to me. I recognize that I am the one who distances myself from him. I don't want that anymore, but I don't know what to do. Or I know what to do, but maybe I'm not yet ready to do it. So what do you do in that moment? What the Piaget says? He says a person should daven. What should you say in your tefillah? Ribono shel olam, kirvani elecha mitoch. Chavtas, what did that stand for? 29. Yeah, mitoch kisufim tovim, I think is what the Piaget's right? From good yearning, that's last week's shir. Umitoch tshuva shlema. I'll say, what do you do? What do you do in that epiphanous moment when you have absolute clarity about how life should be, but you recognize that your lifestyle is not there? So what he says the Piaget's he said, Ribono shel olam kirvani elecha. I will say, is that not the most beautiful tefillah in the world? Ribono shel olam, bring me close to you. Just bring me close to you. Melech rachamon, rachem aleinu, tov umeitiv, hidaresh lanu. Seek me out. Just come and find me. So you know the story behind that song, behind the Reb Shlomo song like that? Because Reb Shlomo asked the Shaila, Reb Shlomo asked the question. He said, we say, right, Melech Rachamon, compassionate king, Tovu Meitiv, who's good, bestows good, right, Tovu Meitiv, Hidarish Lanu, seek us out. So Shlomo said, what a chutzpah. You're telling God to seek you out. So Shlomo told a story. So that one time he was traveling, and he was in an airport, and he saw a young man who looked very disheveled, and like a shtickle homeless, and he saw that the boy just looked pained. So he's approaching the boy, sees the boy, goes over to a payphone. If you're below the age of 30, they used to have these things, right? These things in public spaces where you would put coins into it, and you could coins. What are coins? Right, currency, small metallic discs of currency. And people used to carry money. And he saw the kid go ahead and put money into the phone and make a phone call. And Shlomo was listening, and he says, the boy's there. He says, "Mom, it's whatever the kid's name," and there's silence. And he says, the boy says, "I want to come home." And Reb Shlomo just intuited from the other side of the phone call that the parents are asking, "Where are you? Where are you?" And the boy starts sobbing. And he says, "I don't know where I am, but you have to come and find me. You're my parents. You have to come and find me." That's the story that inspired Reb Shlomo to make this niggin of Melech Rachaman. Tovu meitiv yidarsh. When we say Chassidus Chaburah, sometimes in life I'm so lost. I don't even know where I am, or I don't even know where I have to get to. So you're my father. Come and find me. Come and pick me up. Come and find me. The Piazetzna says, when you're lost in life, there's a simple tefillah. And it's not the long Chazar Sashatz, and it's not a long Shemona Esrei, it's not a kapitel of Tehillim. I will say it's a 3-word tefillah. 3-word. Everyone thinks the shortest tefillah is Kel Na Refan Allah, Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah from Miriam. There's a shorter tefillah Piazetzna. Ribono Shel Olam, Kervani Elecha. Bring me back to you. I will say, is this not the entirety of the Yamim Noraim? Just bring me everything else, the tshuva, everything else flows out of this. There's no tshuva without kirva, right? Listen, this is the mistake we make. You ever wonder why often you're dealing with the same stuff year after year after year and haven't gotten real traction in making the changes? Because we skip a pivotal step. We go right to tshuva, but we forget Ribono Shel Olam, Kervani Elecha. That's Rosh Hashanah. Again, that's right. There's no tshuva in Rosh Hashanah. There's no Al-Chetz. There's no Avinu Malkeinu. Oh, actually, sorry. There's Avinu Malkeinu. Not this year because of Shabbos. Right? This year, not even Tekiyah Shofar, right, on the first day. So what is it? What is Rosh Hashanah? I was saying, if the only tefillah you daven over Rosh Hashanah is Ribono Shel Olam Kervani Lefanecha, Kervani Elecha, that's a good yantiv. As long as you daven it with kavanah. So when you have that moment, that epiphanous moment, where at the end of the day, I recognize that Chassidus Chaburah is everywhere. And I know that it's not God that distances himself from me, but it's me that distances myself from God. But now I'm stuck. See, both say that's where we get stuck. So what do I need to do to reverse that? So we're often so actionally focused. Piazetzna says it's not actional. It's Ribono Shel Olam Kervani Elecha. Just bring me back. Hidaresh lanu. Seek me out. Find me. Help me. Bring me back to you. And I promise you, if you make the first step and you bring me back to you, I promise that this will be the year that I'll turn it around. Says the Piazetzna. So we'll say that's Zayin. So that's let's do a little bit of here today. We have a few more minutes. Emir Hashem. Take a look at paragraph Ches. So first of all, L'chaim. Shalizocha Emir Hashem to a beautiful Yom Tov. Ribono Shel Olam. We'll say, I'll tell you, as I get older, I keep saying as I get older, I think I just feel really old. I don't know why. I just feel very, very old. Say that as I do get older, I realize the truth is, life is much simpler than we make it. Life is actually not that complicated. Circumstances get complicated. Life is actually not that complicated. Ribono Shel Olam Kervani Elecha. That's life. That's the entire Tefillah. I would say we should be Zocheh Emir Hashem to say this Tefillah. We should be Zocheh Emir Hashem to see its actualization. Emir Hashem Obriyata. L'chaim. Let's go on to paragraph Ches, page 51. Page 51. Have also a special proactive hakar to our Gabbai. The Gabbai, mamish, people think Yamim Noraim like takes his toll on Rabbanim. Forget Rabbanim, at least get to sit up front, right? So at least you can whatever. The Gabbai's in the trenches. He's in the trenches. Avram, the entire kid. Thank you so much for everything you do. Good. If the Gabbai has to leave, good. Yeah. And if you're unhappy with your keyboard, you could email Gabbai at SOTC. Let's go back to paragraph Ches. Says the people, say incredible. Tizarma. So we'll see. So now, interestingly enough, we'll see there's a progression here. So after the Piagetzna spoke about again just the emotional piece of Ribono Shalom Kervani Elecha, we'll say. So now again, remember, it can't be all emotions. It also does have to get into the realm of actions. So the realm of actions, paragraph Ches. The Rebbe says Tizar Ma'od Betikun Midosecha. So we'll say this is a profound piece which we're actually going to carry into next week a little bit as well, which is, I will say, a person has to work on the tikkun, on fixing his midos. A person has to be a mensch. A person has to work on his midos. Listen to this, well, it's incredible. V'chol midos sheteida ba'atzma sheyoseh peguma b'cha tichpal avodas chaba. We'll say this is incredible. Piaget says, we'll say all of us have a negative trait or traits, right? Ashrei mi, who only has one midah peguma, one bad midah. Most of us have multiple bad midos, right? They're just of different levels of intensity. Piaget says, the more broken the particular midah, the particular character trait or attribute is, the more you have to work on it. I will say, so what the Piaget, by the way, is saying over here is, a person is never allowed to say, this is who I am. This is who I am. Love it or leave it. This is. I say, I hear this all the time, right? And people say, this is just who I am. This is just who I am, right? So I say, think about that. By the way, if that was an actual defense, so a guy's a serial killer, you can say, listen, Your Honor, what could I say? This is who I am. So again, I will say, we obviously would reject such a statement like that. So if it's true for the serial killer, it's true for my negative midos as well. Now again, we're going to see, could you be born a certain way with certain dispositions and certain midos and certain proclivities? Absolutely. I will say, there is no question that we are born with different dispositions. There's not a shayla. There are people who are born with kas, and there are people who are born with taiva. Not a shayla. The point that Piaget is trying to make, I will say, is whatever is broken inside of me, I have to work on it to fix it. And the more broken it is, the harder I have to work to fix it. He says, so let's say, how do you fix it? It's incredible. Let's say you have to develop a strategy. Tachbulos are like, tachbula literally is, what's the English word for it? What? It's like, tachbula is like a, not a subterfuge, but like a strategy. A tactic, right? A tactic or a strategy. You need to, so you have to develop a strategy to go to war. Which I will say, by the way, I'm just saying, I just want to point out, this is why we have not finished the Sefer. You can see how I said, the Piaget, every word is gold, right? Every word is like a shir, an olam b'fnei atzma. I will say, so the Piaget says, by the way, to fix your midos is a milchama. I'll say, you notice how he says that? It's not easy. It's not easy to change something about yourself. It's a war. Listen, he doesn't say it's a struggle. He doesn't say it's a challenge. He doesn't say davar kasha. It's a milchama. And I will say, how are wars won? And I will say, if it's clear, if there's one thing that history has shown us is the one way not to wage war is how line two armies up opposite each other and right, just let them duke it out. Right? Bad idea. Wars require strategy, which I will say means that in the perfection or rectification of the self, I have to go to war against my negative midos. And to be successful, I need a strategy. A tachbula. Hainu. So we'll say, so what's the tachbula? Hainu, tachkor limtza lecha eitzos eis letakno. You have to find an eitzah. So we'll say, what the Piaget is saying is to affect real change, I will say, requires a plan. was saying, this is such life. Like, you ever wonder, right? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Asher Simei Tshuva, God, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, and then change doesn't occur. I say, why doesn't change occur? It's not because we don't care. It's not because we're not vested. It's often because we don't have a plan. There's no plan. There's no plan. So I come out of Matzah Yom Kippur, I'm ready, right? I'm ready. And then Rabbi say, what happens? What happens? What happens? What happens? Facebook, Twitter, right? Everything else, suddenly again after Yom Kippur, I'm thrust back into the same world that I was in before with no plan, with no tachbula, no strategy. So if there's no plan, nothing happens. He says, Ube'ikar, Bas is incredible. Ube'ikar, tachkar al hamaniya, shemonas oscha, milatakin es hamida hapuguma. I will say, this is mind-blowing. I say this to Reb Shmuel every week, or to all of our therapists, right? But it's like, the Piazetzna was so wise and so much like on the cutting edge of just psychological thought. And he was a Rebbe, which tells you, of course, this is what Chazal meant when they said, Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba dekula ba. Every morsel and nugget of wisdom in this world is in Torah. You just have to know how to find it. So the Piaget will say, listen to this. He says, the first thing is to figure out what is the obstacle to change. I'll say, isn't this incredible? See, it's just such a different way of looking at things. Before I go ahead and I figure out, right? So I've identified the midah paguma. I've identified the negative thing inside myself. And now I've identified that I have to change it. The Piaget says, before you create a plan about how to change it, he says, you have to figure out what? Why am I resistant to change? Wow. Who's ever thought about this? Why am I resistant to change? This is a great. Let's say, Chevra. Anyone here ever think about why they're resistant to change? Right? Incredible. Okay, sorry, you're a thoughtful guy. Right? I never thought about this before the Piaget. I've always been focused on what's broken, what do I need to fix, and how do I fix it. But yet the same thing's been broken for 10 years. Some things have been broken for 20 years. As Chatani Maskir, some things have been broken for 30 years. Some things have been broken for even longer than that, but this is not confession, right? So says the Piaget, I have to ask myself, why am I resistant to change? What? In other words, I'm a capable person. So what is it in me that is resistant to change? Because until you could overcome the resistance to change, no change could occur. Right? So you could have the best plan in the world. You could have identified the midah paguma, created the plan, ultimately again, but if you're still resistant to change, change is never going to occur. So first step, why am I resistant to change? Ves hamaniya tavir. Now we'll say, once you identify the obstacle to change, then what? So step one, this is incredible, I will say. So first of all, let's chart this, right? Step one is recognize or acknowledge I have to change. Step one. Step two, identify midah paguma. What are the things that are broken need to be changed? Step three, identify why am I resistant to change. Step four, identify I guess it's really step 3A. Identify the specific obstacle to change. Now, as Rabbi say, why am I resistant to change? There's something there. So identify that something. Step 4 then, es hamaniya tavir. Remove the obstacle to change. Remove that obstacle. So I'll say, that's it. Remove the obstacle. Now, once you remove the obstacle, and I will say, just to be clear, once you remove the obstacle to change, is the avoda done? Is the avoda done? No. That's when now I can begin to work on the midah paguma. Right? This is incredible. This is all like the hachana. I said this is Erev Shabbos. This is all the hachana. The hachana to fixing the things that are broken. The preparation is first identifying why am I resistant to change? What is the source of resistance, and how can I remove that source? And now, once I remove the obstacle, the source of resistance to change, now I'm open to change. Once I'm open to change, then I can create my plan how to go ahead and take care of the midah paguma. As Rabbi say, what's our great challenge in life? This is incredible. Now it all makes sense. The Rebbe made it make sense for us. Rabbi say it all makes sense. we skip the first part of this, and we go right to making the plan for rectifying the mita paguma, the negative things inside of me. Well, here's the problem. If you make the plan, Rabbosai, for fixing the mita paguma, but you still have the obstacle to change, then what's going to change? What's going to change? Nothing. Rabbosai, we hit the tshuva jackpot. This is it. This is it. My whole life, I've been looking for something, and I found that it's my Rebbe, it's the Piajatzna. The whole life I've been looking for this. Why am I not creating the changes I know I need to make? It's because I'm skipping the first step. I've never addressed why am I resistant to change? What is my obstacle? I want to say all of us have our obstacle to change. And now I have to remove that obstacle. Once I remove the obstacle, then I could create the plan for addressing the particular Mida Paguma. But we skip the obstacle phase. We skip ultimately the resistance to change phase. We go right to going ahead and rectifying the Mida Paguma. Well, if the obstacle is still there, then ultimately, again, no change happens. Let's just finish up the paragraph. He says, Vim la'ala b'pam, Vim la'ala b'pam a'achad, tinasa od pam. Let's say this is... I almost feel like, I tell you the truth, I had a thought today. I thought instead of davening this year, we should just learn Bnai Machshava Tova for 5 hours together. Just 5 hours straight.
Howie, that's a lot of food.
It's a lot. It's going to be breakfast and lunch. Right? So I thought that because this is it. Also, this is it. This is Rosh Hashanah. This is the Seres Tshuva. This is Yom Kippur. Obviously, we're going to daven in Mir Hashanah because tefillah has its own mahos, has its own essence. But look what the Piaget says. So now you're going to go. Okay, so you're all fired up, right? I finally know. Eli, this is also for us. So I finally know, right? By us, I mean for you, right? So right. We finally know, right? We finally know at the end of the day what it is. No, don't pass it down. We're not passing it down so quickly, right? So I say so Lamaisa now. I finally know ultimately again what the process is, right? I finally know what it is that I need to do. So now I'm all gung ho, all ready. Right? So I say, so now what happens? So now I try it, and I fail. And failure could take on a variety of different forms, right? So sometimes failure ultimately again could go ahead and look like, sometimes failure could look like I failed to identify the obstruction, or I identify the obstruction but I can't make the plan, whatever it is. I fail. What do you do when you fail? He says, if you fail the first time, try again. I will say sometimes after you identify the obstruction and you remove it, and you have an eight, so you have a plan to identify or to tackle that which is broken, the plan you have doesn't work. It didn't work. So if the plan doesn't work, I will say, what do you do? Plan B. Make a new one. Plan B. I will say, it says the PHS, whatever you do, don't leave the battle. Whatever you do, don't pack up, right? Don't pack up, right? What is it? What's the expression? Take your glove and
Take my ball and go.
Take my ball and going. There's not a glove in there?
Basketball.
Basketball, okay. All right. I thought there was a baseball metaphor about taking my glove and going. Okay, you get the point without the metaphor, right? So I will say. So the Piaget says, whatever you do, don't leave the front. Don't leave the Machshava. Don't leave the war. Don't leave. Tasmid v'tischazek v'tavod. I will say ultimately, keep trying, keep going. Betach yazra l'cha Hashem v'tuchala. So I will say we'll stop over here for tonight. The Piaget is telling us is really something dramatically amazing. So the Rebbe telling us that again. So we'll say let's kind of bring everything together. So number one, when I have that epiphanous moment, that moment of incredible epiphanacity, right, where I recognize again that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to lean into it. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to use this over Yantif multiple times. Then ultimately, again, a person realizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, and I realize that it's me who distances myself from God. So I both say, what do I do? Very simple. Ribono shel olam, kervani elecha. Step one, bring me back. Right? Tovu meitiv hidaresh lanu. Bring me back. Step two, Abosai. Step two. ultimately, again, is working on myself. How do I work on myself? Identify that which is broken and create a plan to address that which is broken. But recognize that before you could implement that plan, the first thing I have to figure out is, why am I resistant to change? What is the obstacle to change? And until I find the courage to identify and then remove that obstacle to change, any plan I try to implement to fix that which is broken is going to fail. But you may try to identify the obstacle to change. You may remove the obstacle, and you may still fail. If you fail, keep trying. Says the Piagetna, whatever you do, don't surrender. Don't wave the white flag. Don't give in. Sometimes you have to regroup, and sometimes you even have to retreat a little bit. But whatever you do, don't leave the Machshava. I will say, it was an incredible schos on this last Erev Shabbos of Tavshin Pei Gimel to be able to be together with all of you, and for all of us to be together with our Rebbe, and to learn the Hiliga words of the Piagetna. We should be Zochem Yeretz Hashem that these words should be like a beacon as we go into the new year. Also, we should be Zocha that all of the words of the Rebbe should inspire us, not just over Yom Norah, but every day of our lives. But most importantly, we, the Chassidim, the Talmidim, the children of the Piagetna, should also be Zocha to give our Rebbe's Neshama and Aliyah. And he should be a Melitz Yosher for all of us, our families, and all of Klal Yisrael on this Yom Adin. And Halavai, this should be the year. We should be Zocha Meretz Hashem to all of the brachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. But we want, of course, the greatest bracha of all, the bracha of Gula. We'll say, can you imagine? Comes Thursday night, we're going to get together in Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh, right? Tzvi is still going to be responsible for the entire spread, right? But he's going to get to do it from his outdoor kitchen in Yerushalayim, Emirat Hashem, Halavai. And I will say, imagine, we roll in, and you won't have to deal with me anymore. You come to Shir, I'll be sitting with all of you, Emirat Hashem. The Rebbe will be here. Piagetz will be here. We'll say, Rebbe, we've been waiting so long for you. We've been learning your Torah for so many years, because by the time we finish this, it will be years. Right? So learning your Torah for so many years, and we've been waiting to hear your words from your holy lips. Chavra, that year could be this year. Geula could be this year. Mashiach could be this year. Tchias HaMesim could be this year. Everything we want out of life could be this year. If we just find the courage to implement all of the lessons our Rebbe has taught us, there is no telling what level of bracha we could unlock in the coming year. We should be Zochem Yeretz Hashem to all of the brachas Rebbe Shalom has ready to start. Right? Rebbe Shalom is everywhere. He's all around us, which means he's ready to shower us with bracha. We should just be Zochem Yeretz Hashem to finally be Ra'i, to be fit to receive all of it in Yeretz Hashem B'Karov.
Everybody can take their garbage and throw it out in the garbage can.
Chavra Ma'ariv, whoever needs Ma'ariv.
And Marv too.
I thought you would like to see this. It's very short. It's not so long.